dear friends and net aspirants. I hope all of you are great in your life wherever you are. Today in this video, we are going to learn about William Emerson. William Emerson, he is one of the most important figures associated to new criticism that we all know. We have seen his name in the introductory video in which we have learned about new criticism. You can have the video in the I button and the very previous video also in the I button. If you want, you can watch. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel if you like the videos, if you want to have more contents related to English language and literature. And also you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram ID is ligimaria90. And there also we are sharing lots of free materials which are helpful in your NetJRF English language and literature ventures. Okay, without wasting time, let's move on to our major session of the video. So this is the person William Emerson, and let's have an introduction about him. So the first point is English literary critic and poet. He is an English literary critic and poet widely known for his practice of close reading, a practice fundamental to new criticism. See, certain things you have to remember about new criticism and close reading, practical criticism. These are some terms, okay? See, close reading is the phrase that you have to remember whenever you hear new criticism, okay? So they actually propounded, the critics of new criticism propounded close reading of poetry or any other text. Okay, so for his principles and practice of close reading, William Emerson is so famous in relation with new criticism, and his best known work is Seven Types of Ambiguity, published in 1930. So about William Emerson, this is one of the major thing that you have to remember, that he is known for his work Seven Types of Ambiguity, published in 1930. Jonathan Bate has written that three greatest English literary critics of the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries are Johnson, Hazlitt, and Emerson. See, Jonathan Bate, he is a contemporary critic, and he wrote about three greatest literary critics of 18th, 19th, and 20th century. That is, in 18th century, Samuel Johnson was the great literary critic, and in 19th century, he recognized that Hazlitt as the greatest English literary critic of 19th century, and 20th century, Jonathan Bate recognized that William Emerson, he was the major English literary critic. Okay, so remember that point about William Emerson. Now, his critical focus was largely concerned with the early and pre-modern work in literary English canon. See, he mainly focused upon whenever he was telling about a literary theory or prose reading and all, his literary critical focus was largely he was focusing with early pre-modern, that means literary pieces that published before modern time. That was his major focus. Okay, he was a significant scholar of Milton, Shakespeare, Elizabethan drama, Andrew Marvell, John Donne. Okay, so he mainly studied these pre-modern writers: Milton, Shakespeare, Elizabethan drama, Andrew Marvell, and John Donne. He is now popular for his analysis of the use of language in poetical works. So he was also studying and analyzing the languages that we are using, or that particular use of language in poetical works as well. So he is famous for his work Seven Types of Ambiguity, and he was a significant scholar of pre-modern literature. At the same time, he also analyzed the use of language in poetical works. So remember that. And Jonathan Bate, of course, he called him as the 20th century most important English literary critic. Remember that point as well. Now let's see his major works. Of course, Seven Types of Ambiguity came out in 1930, and some versions of Pastoral comes next in the year 1935. The Structure of Complex Words in 1951. Milton's God in 1961. Essays on Shakespeare in 1986. Essays on Renaissance published between 1993 and 1994. So if you're writing notes, then that's great. If not, you can take a screenshot. Okay, so read along with me and pause the video and read several times, so that you could actually when you see these titles somewhere, you recognize that these works are written by William Emerson. Now let's see some points related to 7 types of ambiguity. So it's necessary that we learn something about this, or at least some points related to 7 types of ambiguity whenever we looking something related to William Emerson, because he is known for this particular work, 7 types of ambiguity. The book is organized around 7 types of ambiguity that Emerson finds in the poetry he discusses. So he mainly discussed the poetries and text and works that are pre-modern, published before the modern age. And his work, in this work, he organizes all his arguments related to the poetry that he discusses and analyzes around these 7 types of ambiguity. Ambiguity means what? Confusion, right? It's a ambiguity means confusion. So he recognizes 7 types of ambiguity, and around that 7 types of ambiguity, he he did all his analysis and discussions about the poetries that he criticized or that he studies. The book is a guide to a style of literary criticism practiced by Emerson. So, what type of literary criticism that he was practicing? This book is a guide to that style. And ambiguity is represented as a puzzle to Emerson. So, ambiguity, that confusion that we can see in a text, that is represented as a puzzle to Emerson. And we have ambiguity when alternative views might be taken without sheer misreading. So when we have alternative views, when alternative views takes place without sheer misreading. So it's not misreading but alternative views. When that happens, ambiguity occurs. Emerson reads poetry as an exploration of conflicts within the author. So he reads. So this is his style of literary criticism. Whenever he read poetry, he explores what he tries to find out. What he tries to find out or explore the conflicts within the author that is clearly evident in the poetry. Okay. Now, let's see what all are these 7 types of ambiguity. First one is ambiguity of metaphor. When two things are said to be alike, which have different properties, the concept is similar to metaphysical conceit. So, it's like ambiguity of metaphor happens when two things are said to be alike. When we compare things and we say that these two things are alike but they have different properties. Take the example of metaphysical conceit of lovers and two legs of compass that John Donne did in the valediction forbidding morning. So these two things are two different things, two different they have two different or different type of properties they have, but still John Donne compares these two things. So ambiguity of metaphor happens when we have two things. They are said to be alike, but they have different properties. Okay, the concept is similar to metaphysical conceit. The second one is two or more meanings are resolved into one. Emerson characterizes this as using two different metaphors at once. So when we use two different metaphors at once and they are resolved, they have combined into one, then happens the second type of ambiguity. Third one happens when two ideas that are connected through context can be given in one word simultaneously. So two ideas that are connected through context. So there are two ideas, but they are connected through a context that can be given in one word simultaneously. Then happens another type of ambiguity. Then two or more meanings that do not agree but combine to make clear a complicated state of mind in the author. So there are two or more meanings, and they cannot be bring together. But they, even though they do not agree with each other, these two meanings, but they combine together in order to make clear a very complex state of mind in the author. Okay, to establish a complicated or complex kind of meaning inside a poetry when two different kind of entirely different kind of non-agreeable meanings are combined together. Okay, the next one is when the author discovers his idea in the act of writing Emerson describes a simile that lies halfway between two statements made by the author. So, while the author is writing his idea, when the author discovers this idea while he or she is writing, then there is also an ambiguity because Emerson describes a simile, suppose a simile that lies halfway, and it is there between two statements made by the author, then that is also an ambiguity. When the statement says nothing and the readers are focused to invent a statement of their own, most likely in conflict with that of the author. So when a statement says nothing and the statement is there just for the readers to focus upon it, and the readers need to invent a statement of their own. So most likely in modern and postmodern works you can find like this kind of statements where readers are expected to invent a statement of their own, so most likely in conflict with that of the author. So this statement will be in conflict with the author. Two words that within context are opposites that expose a fundamental division in the author's mind. So there are two words within a context, they are opposite, that actually exposes the fundamental division in the author's mind. So the author's mind is divided, that two words within the same context which are opposite, that shows the fundamental division in the author's mind. So these are the seven types of ambiguities that we can see in a poetry according to William Emerson. So that's all about William Emerson. We have seen his most important concept of seven types of ambiguity and his major text and some of the major facts related to William Emerson. So I hope this was useful to you. Like I said, if you like this video and if you want more contents related to NTA, UGC, NET JRF, English Language and Literature, you can subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon while you subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram in order to have lot of free variety of materials in my Instagram story as well as in my Instagram feed as well as in my uh, Instagram reels section as well. So that's all. If you want to have more systematically arranged comprehensible simplified study material, you can visit my website www.highpoint.in. And also if you want to know more about the study materials that we are providing, at the same time the bonuses and the other facilities that we are providing in relation with the NTA, UGC, NET JRF, English Language and Literature Paper 2, you can WhatsApp me or call me in this given number. So that's all guys. Meet you in the next video session. Until then, stay tuned to High Point and have a happy life, happy learning. Bye bye.